Do you listen to music? I mean, do you have a favorite, kind of music? Rock, classic, Broadway show music. I had to get that in. New age. Well, the adage, music soothes the savage beast, is probably true. Music affects each and every one of us. Hi, I'm Mark Alyn. This is Late Night Health as we continue on this episode, and we're going to join Grammy-nominated composer, player, producer. He does it all. His name is Steven Halpern. Steven, welcome to Late Night Health. Does music really affect each and every one of us?
Absolutely, and you certainly don't have to be a musician to be affected by it. Most people kind of know that to be true, and of course it goes back many thousands of years. What most people think about, Mark, when they think about music, of course, is pop music and the emotional aspect of words and lyrics. My focus has always been on the more instrumental aspect and dealing particularly with the way that music can help us relax and decrease stress or increase stress, with the overall aspect of increasing our optimal health and well-being, which happened to be something that I got involved in very early because I discovered after some medical tests that my stress level as a 22-year-old was off the chart. And I was looking for something that was effective, that was legal, that was non-addicting, and it's something that I could do at home. And particularly being a professional musician trained as a jazz musician, having experienced a lot of the magic of music, looked into the, as we say, the historical records long before recorded history, and found that for thousands of years people have talked about the healing powers of music. But there was very little research into that, and certainly very little contemporary research. That became the focus of my life's work. And so the answer is yes. There are some very simple reasons of why and how music affects us. One of the simplest is in terms of how it literally affects our breathing rate and our breath.
And our heart rate.
And our heart rate, exactly.
The other day I was watching some silly program and with my wife, and it was a medical program. It was a drama. In fact, it's called The Good Doctor. And it's the doctor is a young kid, and he's autistic, and he's training to be a surgeon. It's kind of an interesting premise. And he was part of a team that was treating a young kid, a 6-7-year-old boy from Africa, and his mother was there with him. They were going to fix a heart valve, and his mother kept beating a drum to calm him down. So that's the kind of influence that music can have, right?
Exactly, and this is in terms of the most basic physical response. What you just described is what we call rhythm entrainment, where the heartbeat, and this goes back to your opening question, where our heart immediately and it has no choice, but begins to match the beat, the rhythm of an external rhythmic stimulus. Most rhythms will overtake the natural rhythm of the heart, and your heartbeat will try to match it. That's good in some cases, not so good in others. Obviously, on the TV show, it was good. Africa has a long tradition of healing rhythms, but many other cultures have that as well. It's also, though, a matter, Mark, of the tones and something else that people can perhaps recognize, and I may give you an example right now. The structure of music, whether you are a trained musician or not, we've been culturally conditioned to respond to certain patterns. There's a learned pattern recognition program that goes on in our brains, and if if our audience is not driving right now, let me just take a few seconds, invite you to close your eyes, feel what's going to go on in your chest, in your breathing, and in the space between your temples in your head and in your mind when I sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. And how many of you are holding your breath right now, waiting for that final note, that resolution? Do.
Oh.
I call that scalus interruptus. And since I can't see everyone out there, when I do this in my in-person workshops, most everyone's hand goes up. Some people sing out that last note. They say, I need it to be finished. Well, yes, we need it based on what we've heard. If there's other kinds of music that doesn't create, it literally creates stress. It puts you off balance, waiting for the resolution of the tension that the music introduces to you.
It's interesting because, in The Sound of Music, Mary Martin, who did it on Broadway, and Julie Andrews, there is a beat between that last do.
Aha. Interesting, yes. And that probably figures in on some level, but this scale has been around, of course, for many hundreds, if not thousands of years, but it's not universal in that in Asia, there's only a 5-note scale. In ancient Greece, they worked with both a 5 and a 7-tone scale, and sometimes also a whole tone scale. But the one that we recognize literally engages our subconscious intellectual perception, and that will tend to distract. If you're listening to music in the background and trying to read something and paying attention to memorize something, your attention will be distracted.
Right.
And when you're dealing with assisting your body in supporting its natural healing energies, the state of relaxation is the key. There was a great book that came out in the middle 70s called The Relaxation Response, researched and written by Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard. It was very popular for a while. Now a lot of people haven't heard about it, but the relaxation is so much more important than most of us realize. It allows the body to reset itself. It allows the body to essentially reprogram itself for health and healing. And that's why the basis of most all of my music is to get the body, get the individual into a relaxed state, to quiet the mind so you're not thinking about where the music is going, your heartbeat slows down, and then healing happens so much more easily.
When somebody is listening to music, they often say music radio is background, where talk radio is foreground, because you have to listen a little bit more intently. Can't you have music playing in the background just to have company?
Oh, and many people do. What many people and most people don't recognize, and this has been part of the reason my career has continued for so long, is that whether you're aware of it or not, or listening to it in the background subliminally, it still has an effect on you. The rhythm entrainment doesn't have to be loud to be effective. The melodic imperative or manipulation doesn't have to be something you're literally paying attention to. It's still subliminally distracting. And for some people more than others, I happen to be in that 20% of the population that found it very distracting. And when I read as a youngster that classical music was the best to study, I listened to Mozart and got dumber. and so when
I find that hard to believe.
Oh, no, it was true, because my brain was paying attention to the music. What I was reading would go in one eye, out the other, in one ear, out the other, and nothing was sticking. When I started listening to my own music, which got me into the brainwave state of a balanced alpha state, this then transformed my ability to remember what I was reading. When I was writing my first book, I was able to organize my thoughts. And this is why the music is being found to be so helpful for a lot of people, whether youngsters or adults, who have different kinds of ADHD and attention deficit and distraction issues.
It's also, we have a problem in this country with sleep, and you gave me a CD. Actually, I think you've given me 2 CDs on sleep.
Yes.
And they help. It helps.
Absolutely. And again, this comes back from my own trial and error. I've had sleep problems in the last couple of years, both with age and the increasing stress in the environment, more problems with that. And if someone is not listening to Late Night Health and night after you listen, when you want to get to sleep, if you
we're not here to put you to sleep, folks.
Right. But when you want to get to sleep, if you're listening to music that has built-in keep-you-awake factors, you're literally, it's like driving your car with your right foot on the brake and your right foot on the gas and left foot on the brake. It's not an effective modality. You want to choose music that is consciously created and composed to help you fall asleep, and most music was not. Think about Mozart. He was composing in the caffeine capital of Europe. He was not trying to put people to sleep.
But he was a rock star.
Yes, in those days.
In those days, he would have been a rock star, right?
Absolutely, but again, it's important to choose. I was in my chiropractor's office 2 months ago, and
you should be going more frequently than that. Okay.
But this situation happened. She had her office PA music system on Pandora. They have it tuned to my channel, and there was somebody else's music on, and then a piece of my music came on that I recognized, and it sounded good, but I almost dozed off while I was lying down with the heat around my neck. And when she came in, she says, "Wow, I feel tired all of a sudden." And at the end, and I said, when my adjustment is over, let's go out and see which piece of my music it was. And what it was the sleep brainwave entrainment version of one of the songs that I have on another album. This came from Sleepscape Delta. It had the brainwave frequencies that you need to go into deep sleep. For me, it was inappropriate to listen to that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Mark, I actually dozed off in the studio several times when we were mastering the album.
Oh, my.
When I was recording it, that's how powerful it could be.
Do you have delta waves in the music or
Yes.
under the music?
We add them with the computer, and that's part of what you don't necessarily hear them, but your brain perceives them, and that's why it's like the double dose, the double portion. The music is conducive to relaxation and sleep, and then the added entrainment is the supercharging, and that's why those albums in my sleep series.
And we're going to talk more with our superstar, Steven Halpern, in just a couple of moments here on Late Night Health. For more information on Steven and his music, go to StevenHalpern.com. I'm Mark Alyn. Late Night Health will continue. Don't go away.
Change can be disruptive, but only if you allow it to be. Great renewal is always born from change. If you find that your life hasn't been a smooth sail, know the winds of change will eventually take you to a peaceful shore. There will always be setbacks, but they're never permanent. The sun will rise again, and the weather will always clear after a storm. Let your smile be a great reminder of your blessings. It's time to set your sights on a new goal and persevere. The great goal is to love. So simply love. For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit GuideToTheSoul.com
or go to the Moments with Robert page on LateNightHealth.com.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will fight for you using industry secrets that can stop any IRS actions, eliminate penalties and interest, and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor now for a free IRS audit emergency review.
800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. That's 800-663-5107.